Kanpai!
Welcome, everyone, to episode 125 of Kanpai Cast. Take 2. This episode is 100% censored. It's just going to be mosaics all over the screen. No, that's not actually true. But we are discussing censorship, and it's going to be a really fun and slightly thorny topic. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. So, just the usual things. Leave me a comment to read because I need many more comments. I need so many comments in my head that I can't read them all. Like the video, share it with your friends, tell them to subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe again. Maybe unsubscribe and then resubscribe. No, don't do that one. And I think you had something to add about the one particular show in this episode that somebody added.
So my little tiny short story time. I've had a friend over for the bulk of this weekend, and I left these two to their own devices, and lo and behold, I turn up this morning to a specific anime that is currently in the system, and I'm like, wait a second, what the hell? And discovered that the profile picture of said anime is a little too not anime, and as a result I had to put in an option so that profile picture will not turn on. So if anyone wonders, you'll know exactly, if it ever comes up, you'll know exactly what you'll be like, oh my god, I can't believe you put X in the system. Yeah, I know. They did this.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, though.
In my defense, I was left unsupervised.
Yeah. That's your.
I could have talked about ghost stories instead, but I decided to pick this one because.
Anyway, right. So should we get on with the actual main episode in and of itself?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
So technically, this was Zeno's topic, and he picked censorship because there's a few things in the more recent months about localization, censorship, and it's a fairly good topic that we can all pick up.
Well, there's a very wide, broad spectrum of censorship and things. And a lot of it, we don't even necessarily know about, right? Because a lot of anime we get, from Japan, effectively. So, it is often left uncensored. Or it's censored to a different extent. And I kind of wanted to tackle this one in respect to both the Eastern origin as well as the Western manipulation. How, again, can localization be considered a form of censorship? What different types of censorships there are, not just for the naughty bits, but we're talking about violence and things like that can often be censored, and controversial titles that can often be censored. So there are even some shows in our censored list that are just flat out banned in some countries. So I think the first question I have here is to you guys, and the titular show that really showed this was Pokemon. Is localization a form of censorship? Now, do you know where I'm going with this one?
Is it the jelly donuts?
It is the jelly donuts.
See, now, I kind of understand why they did that, because kids over here may not know, especially at the time, may not have known what onigiri is, or even rice balls. But I don't think it was necessary. But I think in that case, it still kept the general spirit of, it was a snack food, right? It was a snack food in the original. It's still a snack food in the new one, or the change. It's when they change the intent that I think you have actual censorship involved.
So I will point out 4Kids was the one that originally did that change. And 4Kids are infamous for things like that. They did the exact same in One Piece, where a little girl gave Zoro some rice balls, and in the show, in their version, they edited it into chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah, but it's still the same intent. It's here's a snack, here's a nice little treat for you.
Exactly.
Right, but at the same time, it's hiding the origin of, you know, where it came from. It's obscuring the cultural. I mean, like, you know, what is so wrong, right, with just turning around and saying like, "Mum, what's a rice ball?" Right?
Oh, like their parents are going to know either.
Well, I mean, they could just Google it. I mean, I wouldn't expect a kid to Google
the age when this came out, you wanted them to Google it.
Yeah.
Google was only like 2-3 years old at that point.
Well, no, I mean, but even so, today, okay, fine. One Piece is another one, but like the whole point is that you know, why obscure these things that lead down a slippery slope of you know, loads of stuff getting
I reject your slippery slope argument.
Yeah. Now, I say historically there's massive context for this. A lot of things get changed over to because they have to cater for a certain amount of lowest common denominator where people will not understand, not be able to understand, and not even be able to relate without something that they're familiar with. So
it's like changing an idiom that makes no sense to Americans, but makes perfect sense to people in Japan. There's no reason for them to leave that in because the likelihood of anyone going to search that out is minimal.
No,
here's a good one, Zeno. It's the blue versus green that I brought up a couple of weeks back. In Japan, if you are new and untrained, they call you blue. Okay. Whereas over in the West, you're green. Green is grassroots. Okay. So changing that phrase keeps the exact intent, but changes the colour so that it's completely understandable by the people in the West. You see?
Right.
And so that in itself is obscuring the culture, but that's fine because it keeps the intent the same.
I can understand changing things like idioms, right? Because idioms are local. I mean, hell, we have plenty of issues between America and England when it comes to idioms, right? So again, I can appreciate idioms being changed, right? Right. But the whole thing about like this is actually a food product, right? This is a physical thing.
So if they were localizing English stuff to America, let's use biscuits, right? If you were talking about biscuits in some English program, and let's say it was actually a different language. We weren't both speaking the English language, right? And they localized it to America, they would change it to cookies.
They would, but they would still be the same product.
They would be the same product.
I mean, you could see Zeno's point on this one. They changed the food product to an entirely different food product. While they did keep the intent of doing that, they didn't keep the significance of it, where a rice ball is not just a snack food. It's actually, associated a lot of the time with keeping your energy up, keeping your spirits up. It's a thing to encourage people with.
I'll also point out, after having actually had Japanese rice balls, they're full-blown meals, right? They are massive. They're not snacks. They're just like, this is bigger than a sandwich. This is massive, right? I'm not eating anything else. I'm done.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, still, no. I think that some localization like that is misguided, but not wrong. Okay. Because given the time, the fact that we have in fact learned and now have the ability to Google, there's no excuse now.
Right.
There was an excuse back then.
And it's something you see a lot less now.
Yes, it's true. We don't see that kind of the localization people seem to be kicking out about most of the time on social media are things like incorporating modern slang into something that
or
like
political
matters
sus. And things like that. Yeah.
Like Well, I was the one that really kicked out was Nagatoro using the word sus. And like, well, yeah, if it was something written now, they would definitely use the word sus as a character.
Okay.
know.
I've actually got one that's not in our list, right? That we're actually watching this season, right? The whole title of I can't easily readily get to it. Chain Soldier, right?
Yes.
Right. The actual name. Oh shit! Can I find it in?
It's Slave Soldier, isn't it?
Something or another slave. Yeah. But like,
right?
You know, they've like no, we can't have the word slave, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it anymore because I don't want YouTube to actually shut us down.
That's the kind of thing that's a problem.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this word right? The existence of this word, right? Such a bad thing. We have to obscure it from all culture. Right? Mm. It's like this. Yes, okay. Don't get me wrong. The act of this word, is not a good thing, right?
Yes,
but it did happen, right? And by burying our heads in the sand, we're pretending as if it never happened,
and in fact continues to happen.
Yep.
Yes,
exactly. There. Okay, so you can see that. You can see. So, but at the same time, there is a definite factor of that where it's, if you include these things, the audience that would go out and buy it or watch it does go down, because there are people that just judge a book by the cover, or a show by the title. So
yeah, it's marketing.
It can be. So it is a marketing thing in this case, and that, again, misguided.
That's a problem.
But not. But it's not actually. For getting the show to the most amount of audiences, it's not wrong.
So, my next point actually goes into Yu-Gi-Oh! And
yes,
I didn't know that this was a thing until Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged. So this, I'm certainly talking about the invisible gun, right?
Yes.
So
pointing.
Do you know about the invisible guns, Nasuth?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. So just to briefly explain for everyone else that doesn't know about the invisible guns, in case people haven't watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged or the old school Yu-Gi-Oh! Our main villain for the first narrative arc of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Maximilian Pegasus, right? Yeah, and he ends up kidnapping Yugi's grandfather, and Yugi has to go to this island to play in a stupid tournament in order to fight off against Pegasus and get his grandfather back. But as an evil guy, Pegasus has minions, right? And 4Kids digitally removed all the pistols from all the bad guys' hands, right? So instead of actually like holding guns, they were just holding their fingers, like, you know, they were just pointing. And it was like, until that was pointed out to me, I didn't even know there was something wrong with it.
This is like when Steven Spielberg went back through E.T. and replaced all the guns with walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
It's like,
right?
What is wrong with you?
Right.
Okay. So I want to, because again, this is a 4Kids translation and localization. Can I rant a little bit about One Piece? Because
sure,
this is
if you want to. Same thing in One Piece.
So yes, in fact, there was more of this. Okay, everything they did on Yu-Gi-Oh, they did to insane degrees on One Piece. Okay, so let me just bring this up.
Have you got notes or something?
Yes, I have. So,
okay. Like I said, I feel woefully unprepared now compared to Thaylien.
Because this is you're going to be a little bit blown away by this. Okay, so 4Kids actually covered One Piece all the way up to manga chapter 217 and anime episode 130 before another group took it over, which took all the way up to the 11th arc of the show, basically. Okay? And they had a lot of impact on what the viewers in the West saw. I went in looking to see, I wanted to get some facts and see what they changed. And I was not prepared for how much they changed.
We all know about getting rid of the smoking, but...
Okay, but so the very first thing we got on the list was they replaced the original intro music with a One Piece rap. I mean, people love that song. But One Piece changed its intro every season, and forcing the same intro for the consistency was one of the weirdest things they could have done, because it denied all sense of progress to the characters, because they were updated and then new things were part of the intros. So you never got a sense of progression from the intros like you would have from the original. But they did the same thing to the end credits, where they just redid the One Piece rap and then put the credits next to it on half the screen. And what's funny is the people that took over the work translated the songs and just redubbed over with a singer to sing English versions of the songs.
Oh, that's always bad. That never turns out good.
But I mean, they did that. But it's possible to keep that music, It's so you could have seen the intros and what they were. But worse, the entire soundtrack for the show was changed. There is not, in the 130 episodes of the One Piece that was originally released by 4Kids, there is not one piece of the original music in it. Okay, all character theme songs, all epic moments. Tellingly, some of it's even recycled from their older works. So it's not even made all of it for the show. They just recycle some of their old stuff because they thought it would make it more recognizable characterization for the kids to see, have songs come back. Something a lot of people didn't even realize until much later is every single episode's title was changed.
What?
Every single episode from 1 to 130 was changed from the original. Okay. Because of the American ad breaks being different, they completely removed the little eye catch sections right before an advert break. They didn't recycle them and use them elsewhere. They just removed them flat out so they could put the adverts wherever. That episodes were just cut. But anyway, rapid fire, I'll just go down the list of changes made for censorship, actual censorship.
Yeah.
Many of the scenes of violence were just outright removed, or at minimum cut short, whether that's punching a pirate in the face, Luffy hitting the cabin boy for being a whiny idiot, Nami kicking a pirate in the crotch, one of the villains hitting her subordinates with a giant club, the Gum Gum pistol move being renamed to Gum Gum Blast, Zoro's introduction scene where you see him killing a pirate. The pirate was removed and he's just posing. They redrew a scene of Zoro holding a sword at somebody's throat to put the sword further away, so that it was more pointing at his face than his throat. And even the dialogue was changed to make it seem like there wasn't anything violent there at all. They even changed sound effects to make the impacts of things seem less violent. I do need to take a moment for the gun censorship. As you in Yu-Gi-Oh! They removed it, but in One Piece they actually go in and put some real effort into it. All the shots of Marines holding flintlocks, they changed them to cut this kind of water pistol thing. Okay, they had a thing of somebody holding a gun to somebody else's head, and they put a cork in the end of it, so it looked like a pop gun. The funniest one is one of the bad guys was holding a gun at somebody's head, but in the 4Kids version, they badly drew on a spring that was attached to a hammer, so it was a sprung hammer thing that was going to hit him on the head with it, right, to make it look less scary. In terms of kid-friendly, there's the scenes of cut for it being too adult, like changing wine into juice and so on, or completely photoshopping out a bottle of rum that Shanks was holding. Cigars being removed, smoke being removed, Sanji's cigarette we know about. But even like panning shots where they introduced Nami sitting at a table, they cut the scene a little shorter so that the pan began a little higher, so there wasn't as much of her legs on screen. Zorro's name was changed to Zolo because of the copyright thing with the Mask of Zorro. And the last I checked, it's still the official manga name for him because of this, for consistency.
What?
Right.
Zolo?
Zolo. Let's see. The basic one was like when he was tied up to a stake, they removed the top part of the stake so it didn't look like a cross.
Oh my god.
For religious reasons. And they did that in Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, where they were chained to some stone crosses, and so they filled in the areas around it so it just looked like a stone slab. And it's the strange dichotomy of it is even worse, because there's a scene where Zorro cuts down the captain in the first, in episode 3, and in that scene, there's fluttering bits of shirt to show the front of his uniform was shredded. 4Kids went in and completely removed all the fluttering bits so that it didn't look like he was actually all that hurt, right? But in an earlier scene, they didn't want to translate a note that one of the villains held up to show show one of his victims, and so they've just cut that bit. That scene is completely missing. They had enough effort and time to take the Marine logo on every single Navy soldier's hat and redraw it to say Navy, because apparently Marine wouldn't make sense to them.
No, not in America. No, Marines are a different thing. Yeah.
Yep. And okay, I've talked this long about it.
Wait, hold on. No, wait. Aren't the Marines like your Navy soldiers?
Yes. They're
Kinda.
Navy elite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it's the same fucking thing.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, so
these are all the Marines and that are just all Navy.
I will
soldiers,
point
period.
out,
or just
that-
Navy would user.
Okay.
Like somebody who's in the Navy is not a Marine. A Marine is a specific type of Navy, like elite
Soldier.
Whereas,
Yes.
but all the Marines in this are just as Navy people. They're not elites.
Yeah,
They're
that's true.
just Marines.
So you can see why why they would have the desire to do that at least. But okay, I've talked about it this long, right? With the exception of Santi's cigarette, I want to be clear that all the things I've mentioned were in the first 4 episodes. Okay? We haven't even gotten to the point where they changed the skin tone of a pirate. We haven't got to the point where they nonsensically removed all the English text so that they could localize it to other areas, including things like the dog food in a burning pet store. They removed the word dog food, even though it was in English.
So
Okay.
here's there's a long ass list. Right?
yeah, that's what we're getting at.
There's plenty of parts to this that I really want to touch base on, but obviously, I think it is unanimous that the reasons why they've done this is because they are trying to make it more marketable to a younger generation, right? Now, I don't know if the target demographic for One Piece in Japan is actually the same as it is in America, right?
We have to remember that in America, cartoons are for babies. Cartoons
Well,
aren't
that's
for
what
older
I'm-
people.
Right, that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling that basically One Piece is targeted at an older audience in Japan, but they try to target it for a young. This is very evident with Tenchi Muyo, which is another 4Kids translation. Well, actually, there was 2 versions that for Tenchi Muyo.
Yeah.
One which was 4Kids, one which was not. The censorship in the 4Kids one just makes so many of the jokes not make any sense. But if you watch the uncensored version, it's just like, holy shit, this is hilarious. But this is so goddamn funny, right? And a part of me feels like they are just trying to pander to a younger demographic, or they're trying to make it safer for a younger demographic. Now, one character in One Piece that we didn't get to in this list, I don't know when he appears in the series, but he is like, I think he's a Marine that ate like the smoking fruit, right? And in the Japanese version, you see him depicted with, I think, no less than 10 cigars in his mouth at any one time, right?
He often has
I think this
2.
is-
minimum.
I think this is the one everyone knows about. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's one scene where he is walking down a street and he's got like cigars all in his mouth and everything, and there's plumes of smoke coming off of him. You can't see his lower jaw in the slightest because it's obscured. And 4Kids went in, removed the scars, had his mouth agape the entire time. They redrew his entire mouth, his lower jaw.
So that his smoke was coming out his mouth instead.
Yes, right?
Yep.
Now, in Japan, it is illegal to depict a minor smoking, right? Which is
I know where you go
often,
with this.
which is the case for Jotaro, right? But I don't understand why who I perceive to be a bad guy in One Piece could not be depicted smoking.
Because in general, smoking was bad. They removed the cigars from everyone. Good guys or bad guys, everyone that smoked
Remember this was
in One Piece.
In America at this time, especially, there was a big anti-smoking campaign. They were really trying to cut out, all kinds. So it was even depicted on regular television. They got rid of a lot of adult smoking. They just cut it out.
So. Yeah, so that one was for Stardust Crusaders. They had a recent crackdown on the smoking laws for Japan, where it forbids depicting minor smoking, and so the fact that his face suddenly gets darkened out is one of the weirdest forms of censorship.
Yeah,
but it's there specifically, so he doesn't. But it's to imply that he does it because he's a delinquent.
Yeah. Yes, but, I mean it's the only reason why I know Jotaro's age in Stardust Crusaders. Right?
Yes, so. But there's a funny fucking thing, okay? You talk about things like that. And this keeps me on the topic of One Piece. So, One Piece, for 4Kids, someone getting punched in the face is not something they like. But also, actual depictions of, like, getting cut or stabbed, all of them got removed. So there's a fight where Zoro's been stabbed through the gut and he's bleeding from the gut. And still does all the things that he's expected to do after having been stabbed. That's completely removed, so nobody knows why he's in pain in that scene. One of the most egregious ones is one I actually had somebody try to argue with me about. And if you're watching, you know who the fuck you are.
Is it me?
Is that an internet person, or is this...
It's a close friend.
Okay.
So, in... the fight against Buggy the Clown, with his ability to throw his arms off, Luffy gets caged at one point, and in the anime, Buggy launches his hand while holding a knife at Luffy in the cage. In the original, Luffy catches it in his teeth and bites it, right? Because he'll get cut because he doesn't have the ability to block blades yet. Right. Because he's made of rubber, he's not made of metal. But in the 4Kids thing, they just reversed the animation and put a boing sound in, so it made it look like he bounced it back. And
instead of catching it.
Because he's rubber.
Okay?
Right.
Because he's rubber. But also because the idea of kids doing that, trying to catch a knife in their teeth, was so dangerous. Yes. Or putting a knife in their mouth was so dangerous. So... rather than show that Luffy's just different by having him bite the fucking blade in half. Yeah. So you can't do that, so don't try it at home, kids. They, for the longest time, made it seem like...
I watched One Piece.
Made it seem... So people try to use this to argue that Luffy could bounce back blades. And this person tried to argue that fact with me and use this scene. And it wasn't until I went and got the original episode and showed it to them to prove to them that 4Kids fucked about with it that they went, oh. I then had to explain to them the Kushina thing.
Oh, the
fact that Zoro's friend is actually dead and not, ill and gone away for treatment.
But this is something that really baffles me, right? Like, why go for something like One Piece, target it at a younger audience, And like the only thing I can think of is like, oh yeah, because we're gonna sell shit tons of merch if we sell it to 5-year-olds as opposed to 10-year-olds. Like I'm just it
10.
baffles me.
No. 14 at the very earliest.
Jesus Christ, is your
In America.
censorship that strong?
Oh yeah, probably even later than 14,
Okay.
frankly.
So I will put a thing on this. It does baffle you because you can't. There's a mindset that you're not considering, right? And that mindset is
The American
that they think
Puritan
that's
mindset.
the right thing to do. They think that not showing kids this is the right thing to do. That it's their moral prerogative.
Think of the
to
children,
change these
Zeno.
things
Won't you
so
think
that
of the
kids aren't
children?
exposed to it.
Won't somebody think
Like-
of the children?
Yeah.
I just oh.
Yep. So we've been picking on 4Kids for a bit. Should we move on to Funimation and OceanDub?
Oh, okay. That's
Okay,
different.
where do you want to take this then?
Dragon Ball Z.
Mhm. Oh yes.
So the censorship in this one kind of depends on which dub you're watching. The Ocean dub did some of the stuff Thaylien's talking about, where they changed a ton of like all the music. All the music was changed. All the title cards were
Aren't they
changed.
Aren't they the ones responsible for the Dragon Ball rap? Or was the Dragon?
No,
Dragon,
that's
Dragon
Funimation.
Ball Z. No, was that
That's
Funimation?
That's
Okay,
Funimation.
that's Funimation. Okay.
So yeah, Funimation changed the intro music and outro music, and I think the title card stinger, but left a fair amount of the music, not all of the music, because there was a lot of like traditional Dragon Ball music that made it into Z that they just cut and replaced with that guitar riff sort of stuff. Funimation also were the ones that got rid of all the blood. And when Krillin died, they basically cut out the whole scene where he was being stabbed by Frieza's horn and shaken all over the place like a baby that's being, that's
Like
a
a
bad
rag doll.
analogy.
That's not when he died.
Yes, it is.
No, he died when to be fair though, I did watch the dub version, maybe I don't know properly. My understanding is he died when Frieza in his
Frieza exploded him
ultimate
after
form.
that.
Yeah.
No. He was still in the form with the giant horns. He stabs Krillin,
Yeah,
shakes him
but
around like a
it's like
rag doll,
Krillin
and
got
then like
healed
throws
then.
him off and blows him up. But in the dub,
Yeah.
they cut out the bit with the horns, and you just see Krillin like flying up into the air and blowing up. That's it.
How?
Oh,
Yeah.
so wait, that's no, because he got healed from the horn stab by Dinde.
No.
Yeah, I distinctly remember that. They even
No.
make a joke of it in the abridged.
Nope.
He got in the blowing up part where he actually died. Frieza was in his final form.
You know what? I don't think this is a hill that any one of us wants to die on.
Okay.
So let's continue
Moving on.
actually the points.
Yeah, go on with the censorship.
Yeah.
Oh, they so everyone knows because of Dragon Ball Z Abridged that they changed any reference of beer to juice. That's a very common one.
Yeah.
Anytime they were like, "I'm gonna kill you," no, it was, "I'm gonna send you to another dimension." Oh, he's in another
Yes.
dimension now.
Oh, and how can we forget the home for infinite losers?
Yep. It's not hell. It's HFIL. Yes, definitely 100%.
HFIL, Hiffle. Yes.
Some of this stuff got a little eased up on in later seasons, but I think it was mostly Cell when they started to kind of ease up on some of this. But everything up through Frieza was really, really super heavily edited.
Indeed.
And I don't have a huge amount to say because I don't have a huge list in front of me like Thaylien, but yeah, there was a lot of early manipulation.
Oh yeah, no, I can believe it. A lot of the things that happened, that you go back and watch them now from the remasters and things. There's so much in there that gets that got included. Like one of the fun ones was simply like when they punch really close to somebody's face, the wind passage usually like sends a cut
Cuts
along
them.
it with a little spurt of
and they'd
blood.
even edit stuff like that out. Yep.
No. Yeah, they would edit that out. I am genuinely surprised that they kept Yamcha getting Yamcha'd in there in the first place.
Yeah, but you'll notice there was no blood or anything.
Exactly.
So here's a question for you, right? Do you think that so we would still be into anime had it been not for this level of censorship, right? If these shows were never brought over to the West because they were too mature, right? They were too intended for mature audiences, so, for kids or whomever just never brought them over. Do you think that...
I think I would, because a lot of my anime came from other sources.
I certainly would, because my first one was the Guyver. That was not censored in any way, shape, or form. But actually, no, to be fair, there was one scene that was cut out. But yeah. So
I mean, one of the earliest ones I remember, I didn't really count Voltron or Sailor Moon. So one of the first ones I really, really remember was an unedited version of Vampire Hunter D that somehow got aired on a local television network. So, but no, for other people, for especially younger people, I think you might have a point there, where if they didn't get some of these shows on more mainstream sources, they might just not have even shown up or gotten into it.
I can see that opinion. I think I wouldn't have got into anime as early as I did, is the answer. Because many of these things came through on places that I would have been watching just general animation on anyway. But there were several that but things like they showed them on the old Sci-Fi channel back when that existed, but only like at 5 a.m. So I would go down and make sure I set the VCR up to record them. And there were things like Ark the Lad and the original Ava and so on. Well, back when they were shown there. I like Ark the Lad. I really should go watch that again. I think that would have it fits in with one of Xeno's old things of, second soldier on the left kind of thing. The story's about a guy, but the actual hero of the story is off doing other adventures. And you only really interact with him briefly. So, no, I think it would have been slower. I still would have got into anime as a thing, but I wouldn't have been into it as early because I was brought in by these more quickly localized, as it were, kind of shows.
So, one of the big shows that I ended up watching after a lot of the Cartoon Network era for over here in the UK was actually Elfen Lied, right? And I was surprised because I watched it via my methods on the internet, and I was surprised by the violence and the gore and things like this. And when I was doing my research into this, I was very shocked to hear how this one was subject to heavy censorship. And I don't have a direct list of a comparison of all the stuff that they've changed, but a lot of the violent scenes in combat and things like that were just flat out edited. They were just removed. Large amounts of the blood were gone. Sensitive themes of very mature nature were just again removed. And but this is the core of the show, right?
Yes,
why are you
how violent it was?
Yeah.
Without it, you have no impact on the show at all.
Yeah.
Which is,
But it wasn't just the violence. There were other things that were removed too. There was a lot of more, shall we say, sexually charged things that were also.
That's what I was referring to. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Although,
it's.
I must have picked up the right copy on DVD, because I remember thinking back then it was the first time I'd properly seen an anime titty. You know, just one right out there.
That's probably not the scene I was thinking of, but sure, that too.
But again, like the whole, there's a very large point to it with Elfin Lied. Like there's, you understand the opportunity to see it uncensored. Like, you know, even in Japan, they will air both censored and uncensored versions on broadcast television. But in order to see the uncensored version, you would have to stay up till stupid o'clock in the morning, or, you know, set up something to record it, right? But there is that option for you. Whereas in America, or sorry, in the West,
we don't even have a watershed.
Right, in the West, you don't even have that opportunity to watch Tenchi Muyo uncensored.
That's interesting you say that, Nasuth, because in England we did have a watershed.
Yeah, we don't. We just don't.
Don't we still have a watershed?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's after 9 p.m. you can show shows like that these days.
Yeah.
Still.
So basically, the idea is for everyone that doesn't know, after the watershed, it basically means that after a certain point in time, which I think is 9 p.m., the regulations of what you can broadcast on television becomes a lot more laxed, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that you in the UK you can show full frontal nudity and things like that, because the expectation is that kids have gone to bed, right? You know.
Yes.
But a lot of the time, broadcast networks would not air that sort of thing anyway, because they wanted to not age restrict their content and things like that. They didn't want
syndication in the future. Yeah.
No, not that. They didn't want to have parents turn around. I remember, like, my favorite movie, random segue, my favorite movie is The Predator, right? And sorry, no, just regular Predator, not The Predator. That movie's gobshite. It's just Predator and the Arnold Schwarzenegger one, but it got heavily edited for broadcast television.
Oh yeah.
So there were scenes of like dismemberment, and you know, they were just removed, even though it was aired at a time when it was perfectly fine to have these. A lot of these scenes were removed for another stupid reason, right? That was so that they could fit ads in during the course of the movie, right? So stuff was being content was being removed from the film just so that they could slot in ads, right? Absolutely bonkers.
Yup. Because if you've already got like an hour and a half movie, you don't want it to be 2.5 hours after you've jammed all the ads into it. So
cool. So another direction that I want to take this in, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not fully informed as to instances of it, but censorship based on religion, right?
Ooh.
Where the biggest example I know is with G Gundam. So
not Neon Genesis Evangelion. Okay, all right, sure, go ahead.
Let's come back to that, Nasuth, right? But in G Gundam, you had the evil Gundam, which was called Devil Gundam, right? You then had the main protagonist's Gundam, and then the upgraded version. So the first version, I'm pretty sure, was called Shining Gundam, right? But then in Japan, it was upgraded to the God Gundam. So, you know, the whole dichotomy between God and Devil, right? But didn't like that in the West, so it got renamed to the Burning Gundam. And yeah, So I don't know how I feel about that.
It's dumb. It's really dumb.
So, it is dumb. See, this is the kind of thing that really gets me, because religion's supposed to be a personal thing. So having censorship based on the assumptions of other people's religious views is just wrong to me. You know, if you have a religious view that means that you don't like this thing, then that's okay. You don't have to like it.
Oh,
because that's your own belief. Whereas
I forgot about in DBZ they also changed Mr. Satan to Hercule.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same exact thing.
Exactly for that. It's weird how much censorship based on religion there is for American audiences. Not so much for, there's almost no stuff done specifically for European and British audiences in that sense. Even though there are plenty of it seems like America gets it first, and it goes through that filter, and then the European countries get it translated into their language based on that, rather than being directly translated from the source. Under their own settings.
It's just easier because since it's already in English, it's just easier to take ours. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Canada's, I suppose, but mostly ours.
Oh, Canada. It's very
because you have to remember that America has heavy puritanical roots, but also there was an evangelical revival in like the 30s and 40s, and that's just kind of carried through to today. So we've got a lot of that sort of baggage.
There's a real reason. There's a real reason why there's a whole section of America called the Bible Belt.
Yes. And it's unfortunate that they go a little overzealous. Because, devil, especially, there are a lot of connotations to devil. You can be a crafty devil. You can be a sneaky devil. Mm-hmm. It's not always, oh, you're Satan himself. No.
Exactly.
So, the Devil Gundam could have been fine. That one makes just...
Devil Gundam was fine. Devil Gundam was fine.
Oh, it was. Oh, okay. So which one did they change?
It was the God Gundam.
God Gundam
got changed.
Yes, okay, that one I can see them changing. Yeah.
What really gets me, though, it just without going into controversy and political thing, is how many of the Christian revival has been to these mega churches.
I'm sorry,
prosperity gospel preaching.
Zeno's never heard of mega churches.
Really?
What the fuck is a mega church?
Imagine a stadium-sized church, Zeno.
Fuck off. What?
We're not even joking. There are many of these things. They are humongous. They are designed to put on a show, and they often preach something like the prosperity gospel.
Yes.
Where the more money you donate to the church, the more chance of getting into heaven you have. Okay?
Well, it's less that. It's more of a chance for God to bless you, essentially.
Yes.
Oh, if you have a lot of bills, give your money to the church and put it in Jesus' hands.
Yes.
Yep.
And this has nothing to do, of course, with the fact that the church isn't taxed.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Of course not. Yeah. And the fact that these pastors have private jets that they fly around in.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Some of them have. There was one of them was buying his third.
Yep.
Third.
Yep. He needs that third private jet to spread the gospel, man.
Yes.
He needs it.
Exactly.
This is way off.
He was actually caught. He was caught on camera saying that he didn't want to fly with the ungodly. That's why he must, for his own sake, have this third private jet.
Yep.
Anyway, no. So
welcome to America, Zeno.
That's what really creeps me out about that. So if you think that any of these changes for religious purposes are confusing, this is the mentality you have to compete with. Okay.
Well, I thought I'd do a quick search on what anime that were censored
religiously
or banned.
censored.
Yeah, for religious reasons. And lo and behold, it turns up. One of them is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders. The arc was faced censorship and alteration due to the portrayal of the character Dio reading the Quran.
Yep, that makes
Right.
sense. Yep.
This led to the removal of the scene in question in future broadcasts and home
Especially
video
during
releases
the Muslim panic after 9/11.
Yeah. No. After complaints from Muslim viewers who found the depiction disrespectful.
Wow.
Yeah.
That one I didn't expect.
Yep. But the other one, it's in our list. And it was actually quite famous for it. We will all know this. I forgot about it. That was there was a lot of controversy for this, and there was a lot of cries for banning it. Any idea which one?
Tokyo Ghoul?
Nope.
No, was it Evangelion?
Nope.
Devilman
It
Crybaby.
was Pokemon.
Oh.
Really?
Oh, because God Pokemons. Yes.
No.
No?
That was way before the God
And
Pokemon stuff.
Pocket Monsters.
Yeah, it faced criticism from various religious groups over the years. Some have claimed it promotes evolution, right? In conflict with the creationist beliefs, or contains occult/satanic references, leading to calls for bans or boycotts in certain communities.
Like
Yeah, the Satanic
those
Panic
Pokemon and
is
things. Yeah,
Satanic Panic has targeted anime a lot over the years.
definitely.
Well, like I always thought it was funny when there's a toy store franchise. I think you have it in the States as well. It's called The Entertainer, right? But over here, like, they will not sell like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or I think some Power
Magic the
Rangers
Gathering.
stuff. No. Based on a lot of
really?
these religious beliefs, right? It won't do Yu-Gi-Oh because of like magic and shit like that. It won't do Pokemon because of the whole evolution theory and stuff like this. But the stupidest thing is they'll still sell fucking Harry Potter merch, and like the hypocrisy is, tantamount.
Palpable.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, it's like I
Yeah. So,
Yep.
thinking about straight up banned stuff though, Xeno put it on the list. I was going to until I saw he already had, which is Tokyo Ghoul, and it kind of got us onto the topic of the Chinese censorship as well, because Tokyo Ghoul is completely banned outside in China.
Yeah.
Because of the themes. I mean, come on, it's a show about eating people. In that respect, but in the censorship was kind of hard baked in for the adaptation for the anime, and they did it by reversing the colors, like an inverse color filter on everything. Like a negative filter, so it looked like it was from a negative photograph, and of course then nobody could see it was censored because nobody could see what was going on.
Yeah, it's fine.
But again, if it's all reversed out, you can't really see what's going on because of it.
Yeah,
It's similar to some of the other tricks where they just darken the area, right? I mean, it's not as bad as
this is also why
the
video
other
games tend to have blood that's not red in them. Well, a lot of them used to anyway. Because if it's not red, it's not blood. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah. It's why the original Halo was okayed for the Xbox, because all the blood in it was alien blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. So the weird thing is they did that as a hard baked thing. Like, I don't think there is an uncensored version out there. They just inverted it at base to I don't know, for an aesthetic.
And you're sure that's
purpose
not like
as
an
well.
artistic reason to add
No,
starkness
it was listed
to it, or
it was listed as a censorship thing.
Okay.
I could believe that. Again, like, there's I think in Japan, to help allow younger audiences to watch different shows and things like this, they will change the color of blood, so it's like, you know, bright pink or bright purple or something like that. And it's just it helps shatter. It helps chattering.
Divorce it from reality.
It helps. Yeah,
yes.
I was going to say it helps with the suspension of disbelief, so they can they can make that mental disconnect between reality and the medium.
So all
as
the
opposed to China's version, where they just turn all the blood white.
Yeah,
and that of course makes it look like something completely different.
Yeah, very different.
So
don't know why they didn't think of that, but regardless of that, it's just down to like how stuff is done. And one of the other shows that received a lot of censorship was Bleach, right? So I don't know if Thalien's aware of this, but Bleach got a lot of censorship in terms of the amount of blood that was spilled.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, it is.
So you know there was one famous fight between our main protagonist Ichigo and one of his rivals Renji in the Soul Society arc, and Renji cuts Ichigo really badly, and there's like blood pouring out, and there's blood all over the floor. In the American version, however, it's like a thimble's worth. It's okay. It's a little more than that, but it's like, you know,
it's a whole thing because it was one of the things that the author put in to hint at Ichigo's later powers, the ones that he would actually discover in the later arcs, that he could stop that bleeding.
Right.
And so that was a thing. So it's
of course
that to me is that when they removed that, it's not only undercut, it's kind of on the level of the set of Luffy bouncing back a knife kind of thing. It's like, oh, but this was done for a reason, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's Bleach would have got an awful lot. I don't remember what the actual tally of censorship was in that one, because I was too flawed by One Piece. I was going, but that is definitely one of the ones they went into. If you think it's a anime about cutting each other with giant swords, what did you expect was going to happen?
Yeah. And surprisingly, a show like I kind of want you guys to help me out understand this one, right? So, one show that's flat out banned in Australia, like not just the anime, but also like the light novels that it came from, is No Game, No Life, right?
It's probably the brother sister relationship.
Quite possibly, but it is flat out banned in Australia because of okay, I'm just going to read this out. So so it's banned in Australia, where it was refused classification due to the depiction of minors in sexual context.
Yes, exactly.
Effectively making it illegal to sell or distribute. But like,
that's true. There are also other people.
Yeah, there's the tiger girl they fight. Yeah, the beastkin girl. They put her into a lot of poses, shall we say, in the fight, don't they?
Yeah.
Do they?
Australia is, if anything, even more puritanical than America in a lot of ways.
At least in that respect, yes.
Though? Yes, it is.
In not giving things ratings, meaning they can't be sold. Yes, it can. It can be surprising. There's a lot of shows that Australia doesn't let in because they have a very hardline policy on specific content.
Yeah,
violence they're aware of. That can get to a bit extreme, and can be unrated because of it. But sexual themes, in that sense, a lot of them, especially if there's even a hint of minors, because the protagonist, the little sister, doesn't. There's not a lot of over-sexualizing her, apart from in like the opening word battle with the angel. What's her name? Where there's a little bit of like putting her in a swimsuit or taking away her underwear. You know, so other than that, there's not a lot with her because her purpose is to look cute. But the other girls in there are many of them are of questionable age. For example, I think the princess is under 18 in the show.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be frowned on as well for the things they do to her. So it's a very strange state of affairs with that. Australia banned some of the weirdest things, in my opinion.
Well, so I'm just doing some searching. And either they're super obscured, or I'm only finding 3 shows that are actually banned, right?
Oh, I'm going on about shows so much.
What about shows that weren't given
anime.
a rating, though?
Yeah. Well, the same thing.
Same thing. If it's not given a rating, then it can't be sold.
It's effectively banned. Yeah.
So there's No Game No Life, right? High School DxD, which I completely understand.
Yeah.
Right. That for
that
the
definitely
reasons,
has a lot of it.
Yeah. And then Uramanga Sensei, which I
just for the end fucking credits alone, Australia would ban.
Sure.
High School Double D.
I mean, the hilarious thing is, like, I think Issei and Asuna are the youngest 2 out of the whole thing, and like, the rest of them are like Asia.
Yes, not Asuna, because there's no N in there.
Okay, Asia. She like they're actual human. They were human. That they're like in their teens. The rest of them like hundreds of years old. So,
yes, but they don't look it.
Who looks any age in whatever?
I know. So that's the kind of thing that they will be questionable things on from Australia. It's other medium. There's a lot of video games, a lot of
light novels, probably
actual live action TV shows, comics, things like that.
Okay.
For their depictions. So
right. So. Right. We've gone through a lot. We've spoken about a lot. We got a lot sort of like still floating around in the system in the background. Stuff that's been banned, stuff that's been censored heavily, but I'd like to kind of sort of have a discussion with you guys, unless there's anything you really want to pick out and talk about first.
Unless it's if the discussion's what I think it is, which is about censorship of fan service. Because that's what I was doing.
I was kind of like looking to broaden this into is censorship right in a lot of these places? Is it justified? Should the uncensored versions still be made available in the West, just like they are in Japan?
Yeah, now that's
if you're going to censor it, then yes, it should.
I think this will feed into it. If we go from the fan service on to the wider discussion, because my topic was more along the lines of bad versus good fan service censorship.
Okay.
So the first one on my list was Rosario Vampire, or Rosario Plus Vampire, because this one has some really bad censorship in the TV version, and is uncensored in all the other releases. In this one, they actually produced an anime exclusive character called Ko, or Batty, and he acted as like the narrator for things like in the previous episode, and in the next episode we talk about this. But he also acted as a censor bar, or censor bat, but the thing is, it was supposed to be to cover some of the too risky fan service, but it wasn't. It was too inconsistent. So he would appear on screen suddenly, just pop in over a thing for no apparent reason. It's not like they did a little scene of him flying in to say, well, we can't show that. Or, like they did with Air Gear, where
it's not like
the main character had a crow that nested in his head. So the guy had a crow that nested in his head in Air Gear, and it would flap around to protect viewers from seeing his nakedness, and that was funny. In this, it just pops into being, but it doesn't pop into being on all of them. There's plenty of TNA on show in the TV version that isn't covered up by him. But I think that in this case, they would have been better with just black censor bars. It would have been more effective.
No. You need random light layers. That's what you need. Lens layers.
Another show, what's it called? Similar tangent is Ayakashi Triangle, right? Now, there is a YouTube creator that absolutely loves this show. Unfortunately, it had a disruption due to COVID, so, But the level of censorship in this show is the same. But it's this dumbass fucking cat's face that just, BAM! There's the cat's face. And like, a part of it is just like, is this really needed? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Could you not
if you were just going to do that anyway, then why are you even animating it in the first place?
So, but here's the kicker, right? Now, this is actually something we've not yet discussed. They didn't air a broadcast version of this uncensored, but you could buy the Blu-ray and get it uncensored.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So this is actually this brings me on to the next show, which is where they actually animate in the censorship. Okay, this is Full Metal Panic. There's two types of censorship I want to discuss in this one, and the one is fan service. Now, in Full Metal Panic, the censorship is like hard baked in, but in a way that you can't really get around if you're just unless you actually go in and edit the scenery yourself. Because, for example, there's a Hot Springs episode. Of course, there's a Hot Springs episode.
Of course, there's a Hot Springs episode.
And the comedy from that episode comes in. Sorry, it comes in from the fact Sosuke has military-style trapped all the area around the women's baths to prevent peeping. Everything from non-lethal landmines to pitfalls to rolling log traps. And there's one guy that's absolutely determined to get a look in on the peep on the girls in the bath. But meanwhile, the audience is treated to almost uninterrupted panning shots into the baths while the girls are there, right? And at one point, the female protagonist Chidori and Tessa, I believe, actually they come to the edge of the bath to look out over the view, right? And there's like a wicker fence that's just like 3 bars and a plank. And that is the censorship on there. Until Chidori moves, he goes, oh, look at that over there. And it's only then you realise that in the foreground there's been a ladybug walking along a leaf. And it flies away. It flies away when she moves and the leaf pops up to cover her.
Oh, my God.
But see, stuff like that is almost clever.
That is, it's one of those things that's actually clever, that you've actually hard-baked it into the animation. You know what your audience is doing.
Actually, tell you what, let's take it the male version, right, which I think is completely, fine. They did the exact same thing with One Punch Man, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, they did.
When Genos blew up like a chunk of City Z, fighting Mosquito Girl, I can't remember her name.
She was Mosquito Girl, yes.
And, Saitama's clothes were burnt to a crisp. There was a lovely smoke plume that was just covering him.
Yes.
And then when it disappeared, a sign just sort of like boom, fell over and just covered him. It was brilliant.
Think about even older than that, Shinji with the toothpicks.
Or when he was in Misato's house and he first ran into Pen Pen, and he came out and she was she had like beer there.
A beer can.
Yeah.
She took the beer away and there's a thing of toothpicks. And I was like, oh, that's mean.
But still, it's like that. Actually, that's a really good point, because I never even considered that sort of censorship, and I'm fine with that sort of censorship. Right?
Yeah, it's clever.
It is playful. It is tasteful. There's nothing wrong
in some ways.
Yes.
Right.
So, there were whole bits in the Austin Powers movies to bring it something Western, where they would do that. Just massive scenes. It was so funny.
Yes, but okay. But you compare that to the other censorship in Full Metal Panic. Okay? And this is one I actually brought up in the villains episode last week, because in the manga, the villain in the second arc, Garo, he was training up like a replacement to Sosuke in these twins. Now, in the manga, the twins are boys, and it's heavily implied that there's some icky relationship between him and the boys that's just keeping them very, very loyal. But in the anime, they changed it to being female twins and toned down the ick factor. So it's not doesn't make it better so much, but there's less implication, and it does seem to be more palatable when the girls say they actually care about him and want to, help him. It seems more of like a motherly concern than the slavish devotion the boys had.
So obviously, this whole conversation is subjective, right? Sorry to cut you off.
Yes,
but it's all subjective. Like, we're saying, hey, keep the TNA in High School Double D, right? Don't obscure it or anything, or at least I'm saying. But in this example, here's the question though: is it such a bad thing that such nasty tones are toned down?
Well, but they're not playing it as good in that, right? It's a bad thing.
No, it's still a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's more I think there's more of a thing to, in this case, it was just to tone it down rather than to make it, because I think for the anime it did need to be less in your face than it was in the manga. The manga was very heavily implicit.
Yeah.
It just implied a whole lot of things going on, and while some of it was played for comedy in the anime, there was a scene when the bad guys was repeatedly pulling tissues out of a tissue box while watching.
Oh, no! Stop there!
Kittens on the screen. Yeah. Okay, and it's if your mind works the right way, suddenly it clicks. Oh, that's what he means. That's what they meant in that one. That's an implication, but that's also played for laughs like the rest of Full Metal Panic. I think the bit with Garon was not played for laughs, and so they had it was too much of a tone dive into the dark side of things. So bringing it up to as dark as it was, but not that much darker, was keeping the tone of the overall anime while still keeping.
I have a question, right? So here's... It's important to be utterly disgusted by Garon. Is it Garon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's important to be utterly disgusted by him in everything he is and or does, right? In someone like Dio, right, as a dichotomy to example here, with Dio, he is beloved as a suave, sophisticated sexual icon, right? He is evil, sure, but he's not Garon levels of evil. Garon is a character that you should feel utterly disgusted for even knowing exists.
Yes.
Right?
Dio's more like a Hannibal Lecter, right? He's awful. He is an awful, awful person. But there's something charismatic about him that draws people in.
Yes. Yeah, that's a very, very good way of putting it. But to me, toning down Garon in the second raid is what you're referencing. To me, it raises the question of, are we now turning horror movies into thrillers and not killing anyone because it is more accepted by a greater audience?
I can't put my finger on it. I think this one was purely because it reached a level of dark that didn't keep with the tone.
Well, I mean, the second raid was pretty damn dark anyway.
Yeah, it was dark. It was dark, but there was still comedy there, and viewers weren't all there. And I don't know. I think that even the author realised that it was a bit of a step too far. As that kind of thing. Maybe it was like a thing like with Xenogelion, where the director just went to too dark a place while doing it, and and the later work was designed to bring them back up again, and try and see things a little bit more evenly. So it could have been that, but
okay,
it's a censorship more of the manga's depth than it was of the anime's content.
I get where you're coming from. It's sort of like first-hand censorship as opposed to, oh dear God,
localization censorship. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So that's why it kind of fit into the theme of the baked-in censorship that I was talking about.
Okay, so I think we should explore this in terms of a discussion to round off the episode. We've spoken a lot about this stuff, and I think we've got a familiar ground now with sort of stuff. And again, like audience, feel free to answer any of these questions. Do you think, and this is your personal view, you're not speaking on behalf of anyone else, but do you think that censorship based on cultural or religious grounds should be upheld? Now, I'm going to also point out that this goes both ways, where basically we're changing cultural stuff from Japan to make it more Western, as well as making stuff that is Western not as offended.
I think again, if it's just changing stuff like idioms, it's fine. But if you're gonna go any further than that, then you should offer an uncensored version as well. Like, I'm not totally against the idea of censoring something for a particular audience or a particular broadcast standard, which is what happened to Evangelion when they showed it on Adult Swim and even regular Cartoon Network programming. They had to heavily edit it. But as long as the uncensored version still exists somewhere that you can get a hold of, I'm more okay with it.
Okay. So it's a tough topic. I think every country already has rating systems for content. Mature, 18 plus, PG, PG-13, 12 adult, 12 with an adult kind of thing. I think that given the prevalence now compared to 20 years ago of anime in the world, every country does need to actually rate the content appropriately in the first place. Any censorship should be only related to getting it into a certain category for the audience you actually want it for. Okay? Religious, cultural things, you have to take them on a case-by-case basis. I would agree with Nasuth. Idioms, fantastic, because some things literally just don't make sense to translate directly.
Yeah.
However, actual cultural norms and things that are expected, or things that are connected to having grown up in that country, shouldn't really be adapted, because that's what they're there for. They're not there for the opposite side audience to suddenly have something they can relate to. They're there to depict something that is comfortable to the original audience. And so finding out about it is important. We now have access to Google. We can find out why these things happen. So if there's going to be censorship, it's only to comply with the age ratings that's supposed to be in there. And if you didn't create it with censorship in the first place, like some shows where it's played for the comedy, the uncensored version does actually need to be made available with as much care taken for translation and localization as the TV version. But also, again, rated appropriately. So if the nudity factor bumps it up to a mature rating, then it has to be re-rated for that. It has to be two separate things.
Ratings, yeah.
Yes, two separate levels of rating, specifically based on that, to inform people based on exactly what the actual end result is.
Yep.
That way, yes, you do have to put more effort in. You do have to take it on a country-by-country basis and what their rating systems are. You can't just chop and change things like the 4Kids did, where they just erased whole sections, rewrote whole sections, and sometimes completely nonsensically. Okay, so they just didn't like people getting punched in the face, so they removed all the scenes of anybody punching somebody in the face. Just flat out removed. No, it didn't even. In many of the cases, they actually rewrote the dialogue to pretend it never happened. That kind of thing is just breaking the source material.
Yeah.
I find it's taking the source material out of context and is bordering on parody with that level of change. Which,
Okay.
I don't know. So it has to be based on what the original material is.
Okay. So I think I want to. You've spoken about like, you hit the notes of localization, in what you were just saying. I kind of want to talk about that. I feel that some of the localization can be considered a form of censorship, because these are things that the character did not say, you know?
And did not mean. Did not even come close to meaning.
Yeah, right. And there are complaints when it comes to mangaka who say, like, you know, that's not what my character said. Why did you change it? Right. So,
should there be a difference between in what we're talking about from localization versus bad translation, or poor translation, not bad, just improper translation versus localization?
I think there's two things to this.
Is there a difference between accidental mistranslation and purposeful mistranslation, though?
Well, I think there's two sides to this, right? First off, translation of idioms doesn't work. They need to be localized, right?
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes, translation and localization, I think they should be two separate things in this discussion, really.
Yep. But when we're talking about localization, where you're changing the meaning of what was said because it's too long, it doesn't fit well, it doesn't jive well, right? Then, okay, that's fine, right? But when you're translating things and you're changing the context of the conversation had, because that's the mood of the localizer, right? That's not okay, right? I know one of the famous ones is in Nagatoro, the use of the word sus. I've never seen Nagatoro, right? I know Loz likes it, but I don't know
the meaning is still the same
with the use of the word sus.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, I think what she said was something like, in the just raw translation, it's something like, it's an idiom that translates to, that's pretty suspicious.
Yeah.
Yes. Or you're telling on yourself, I think was the actual thing. You know? In the same way that we would point that out, you know, like the way you phrase it is, it tells us that you actually did something.
Oh, Freudian slip.
You're confessing?
Yeah, it's like it's like in American terms, I plead the fifth. You know, it means you possibly did something, but you don't want to tell anybody you don't want to admit it. To admit to it by law, something like that. So I think the phrase is usually used for, like, or Shakespearean terms, methinks the lady protested too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those phrases that, you know, makes it seem like, yeah, that's suspicious, right? But oh, okay, sorry. I see what I was looking at there.
Yeah, I don't remember there being
prison school. Oh, it's a thing.
I don't remember there being a Lego depiction in prison school, but I mean,
it's while they were discussing their plan.
Yeah, no, I know exactly the scene, but regardless.
Yeah.
Still, but it fits with the character to use slang terms like sus, you know? So, no, she didn't say that, but it makes it clearer to the audience that's been around that kind of meme culture what she's saying. And for people that haven't been around that meme culture, they wouldn't know, and they wouldn't have understood the phrasing from Nagato, the original phrasing either.
Yeah.
You know?
So here's
I think
the question.
in some places,
when localizing like that, is it good to use current slang that is prone to change or be forgotten?
I don't think so.
Or might not be known.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
That is true. Right. But when it's something as simple as, oh, it's sus, which is short for suspicious, okay, you can actually get that from context, even if you have no idea what the meme is.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, when it is so recently, like, as far as I know, calling something sus has only really kicked off with
especially
Among
at the
Us.
time.
Yeah.
So we're
Before
talking
that,
within the
if
last...
if you said sus to me and I didn't know the spelling, I would think it would be SUSS, which is like to suss out
To
an
suss out,
answer.
yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is very, very, very different meaning.
Yes. So
Yes.
I think when you're using a replacement idiom, right,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be very careful that you're not picking one that's short-lived,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? You know, that one that's
Yeah,
done
you
as-
do. I agree with that one.
Yeah.
But then again, you can't always be sure that picking in an older one that's been around longer even works, because I have godchildren that are younger, and the oldest is a functional adult now, and I will say a phrase that my father used when I was like 7, and my grandparents used a lot, and they won't have even heard it. Okay, so
Well-
it's an old and reliable phrase. It's clear what it means from context, but they've never heard somebody say it because it's out of fashion.
Oh god, Nasuth, what was the what was it? Shit-eating grin?
Yeah, shit-eating grin. Yeah, Xeno didn't know what
Yes.
that meant. Yeah.
Yeah, I've
That
never
really?
heard of it before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Oh, okay.
is eating shit good? I don't understand.
No, the phrase is based on when you're doing something that you know is should be taken, that you should be discussed, it should be wrong by your standards, but you're doing it to spite somebody, so it makes you smile. So a shit-eating grin is one of those ones where, yeah, I have to eat shit, but you're the one that's disgusted.
That's not... I don't think that's right.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that's not
No,
right.
you don't. No, sure.
No.
Okay, it's somebody who's grinning in a way that
It's more like when you're
so
really
that's the thing.
pleased it with yourself.
Yeah, it's
for
I
doing,
think
for
it's
doing
you
something.
know. Yeah, so you're doing something, but you're doing it to spite somebody else. That's why why you're grinning at somebody else with a shit-eating grin.
This
think
is
that's-
this is the whole this is the whole
This is part of the problem, though. Yes, yeah.
You know, like
Thaylien's gonna go to
Yeah.
Google now.
no. But I mean, this again. This highlights the problem. You know, in changing the context of things. We're talking about idioms, and there are problems, right?
Yeah. It's
But when
all
you're
cultural
changing-
and what you've been taught, essentially, growing up with it, and or associated with growing up with it, and yeah.
But when you're changing the dialogue of a conversation to be political, right? Which is not an idiom, right?
When that didn't
That
exist
is-
in there in the first place.
That is just an agenda, right? That is just like you are changing it to suit your needs. You didn't need to do this,
Yeah.
right? And to me, that is a level of censorship that is too far, right? You know, to the authors, that is a level of censorship that's too far.
Oh, just at a top up, the etymology updates comes from it's the kind of grin that you use again. Sorry, that you call somebody else. You say somebody else has a shit-eating grin.
Yes.
It's not one you usually have yourself, because it's for somebody who is irritating you on and enjoying doing it.
To what we do to each other, then got it.
So, yes, exactly. So anytime that I say something, you facepalm and I go,
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yes.
It's the kind of grin that makes you want
so-
to tell them to eat shit.
Yes, but yeah, it's a. But the other thing is that it could have come from an American shortening of American phrase of it's where is it here? It's oh god, where is it? Yeah, it's a contraction of the phrase "grinning like a possum eating shit,"
What?
which conjures up a very vivid image in your brain.
It does, unfortunately. But regardless of that, the next... Oh, shit, I actually had a question.
Oh, yeah, go on. Yeah.
Going off of political localization?
Oh, no. So we spoke about the concept of there has to be an uncensored version of the anime. We're not just talking about in Japan, but we're also talking about in the West, right? But, and I agree with the sentiment, but my question is, should content be allowed to be unreviewed, right? Should content allowed to be banned for whatever reason, or should there be new classifications to highlight that?
I would say that America already has
really
those, though, because anything past like X is just like, you know, I mean, we have triple X even, so we pretty much have everything in America.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Under the current rating system, yes, there should be items that are allowed to stay unreviewed or unrated, so that because under those current ratings, they actually do technically violate a law.
Yes.
You know, it's of the land. They are unrateable because they are too graphic to fit into too much to fit into their rating system. If we're talking about bringing in a new rating system, yes, exactly. So in the case like depiction of minors as is unrated, we've discussed it. I mean, that kind of thing. You can see why under the current rating system that would be completely impossible to rate under their particular rating system. But if we're talking about bringing in a new tier that's globally applicable, that allowed for this content is unrateable by our system, but possession of it is not a crime, because you know it's not a crime in the other countries that it's in. I'm not sure. That seems like it would be far too easy to abuse.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel that no, it shouldn't be allowed to.
If it doesn't rise to the level of illegality, but it doesn't fit into the current rating system, then maybe you could have some kind of weird nebulous limbo.
For example, I think, for example, No Game No Life doesn't rise to the level of illegality. Yes, it has some depictions, but they're not sexual in the sense that should be caught by a rating system lower than the mature rating.
But my point is that I think for safety of a national audience, right? No, everything should not have a rating. Not everything should be forced to have a rating. But instead, I think everything should be re-reviewed. And I'd probably say more recent stuff should be reviewed more frequently, as opposed to older stuff.
So, you know, what do you think a rating system is? Somebody has to review it to give it the rating system.
Yes, but if they can't currently give it a rating because of X reason, right? In 5 years' time, they have to re-review it, right?
Oh,
because
Nasuth. Whoa, be nice.
He was not being nice.
I would say it's only if the rating scheme changes in some way they would have to re-review it.
Yeah.
As long as the rules are still the same in 5 years.
If certain laws change, or if more things were brought in that squeaked by into the rating system that are in some way similar to the unrated one.
But I'm pretty sure that the definitions of the ratings will change. Yes, subtly, but what's called frequent enough to the point of like, well, hold on. We weren't allowed to have. No, I don't. But my point is, like, oh, you weren't allowed to review No Game No Life, but you were allowed to review Ayakashi Triangle. Like,
I am actually completely on board with this concept, but for one specific reason. Think of the PG rating and how it's shifted. The PG rating in England, back in the 90s, a PG rating meant that there was actual parental guidance needed to watch the movie or the show, in the sense that there was discussion of themes or depictions of certain things that parents would have to gauge whether their child was ready for it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, 20 years on, the PG rating system allows for one use of fuck. And none of this, there's so many shows that would actually not be a PG rating if they were reviewed now because of it. Okay, so re-review could go both ways. So, a show that was previously considered fine, might go up a rating under re-review because standards have changed, and the idea of of putting that in a level that children can watch would suddenly go, oh wait, why did we review it this way in the first place? So re-review after a certain time, yes, absolutely, to base it on.
So here's a question for you,
have shifted to.
Are you ready for more tax dollars to be spent going towards that?
Screw that. Get an AI to do it.
The fuck you say?
No, I mean, like, I'm being genuine here, right? But
well,
like,
you shouldn't,
again,
because that's a terrible idea.
Why?
AIs are stupid.
Well, yeah, but this isn't going to be a self-learning AI. It's like, these are the rules. These are the regulations, right? Don't fucking make the rules and regulations up as you go along. This is the fact-finding. The only AI side of it is the fact that it has to determine whether or not the criteria is met.
Yeah, so, Nasuth, which method do you prefer? Black bars, greying out, turning it white, or to get around the censorship from the AI detection?
Yeah, see? Exactly.
No, but
how many times has AI content moderation on YouTube been a bad thing, or algorithmic content moderation on YouTube turned out to be a horrible thing? And then you can never get a real person to review it.
Oh yeah, getting the fact that we can get content demonetized just by saying fuck or shit in the first minute now because it's an auto-detect system.
Somebody got their video demonetized for drawing circles because it thought there were boobs. Okay? AI is
Somebody
dumb.
got demonetized. Somebody got demonetized because the lamp in the background of their ceiling looked like a nipple.
Nasuth,
there you go.
Nasuth. We're talking about AI when we have instances of God Gundam being renamed to Burning Gundam. Right? We're screwed regardless, man.
That's why I think your idea is dumb and stupid and shouldn't be put in practice.
I honestly, I think...
Actually, I do agree that there's going to be more problems if you start trying to get an algorithm involved in this than actual people reviewing based on a group rather than a group with the actual rules to go by, rather than the current system where it's just a review board that has its own personal opinions and agendas.
Yeah, but I think part of the problem though with the people side of things is the time it takes to actually go through the whole content. I mean, there was one movie which was 10 hours long that was just literally paint drying, and some poor fucker had to sit there through the entire 10 hours to make sure that the content was safe for a universal rating. Whereas like an AI could just like blitz that and just go like, yeah, it's perfectly fine.
That's true.
Assisted
things, but it won't ever remove the need for actual people with rules to look at something, because there are so many ways you can get around AI recognition of content.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. Like, there's loads of different things, but this stuff is going to grow as time goes on. I wouldn't want to just go, oh, no, let's just hire like 100 more people to try and do this. When, realistically, you're making up jobs that aren't going to be sustainable. In an economy
you essentially
that's
want
already
to re-review everything that exists every 5 years. That's unreasonable.
That's impossible. That's only impossible.
That's what you're suggesting.
I said, have things going to a review process that have not been reviewed. That they won't give a rating.
Okay. Unrated things. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a very few items when you stop talking about it.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
Anyway.
There we go. So, I think that we should... I think we've gone on for a good couple of hours now, haven't we?
No, an hour and 40.
An hour and 40 or so.
It'll be a couple hours after we get done with everything else.
Yeah. So I think we want to round this up with the single greatest act of censorship.
We never even got to Bible
think
Black.
of in anime history. No, we did not. And
I'm no. A shame.
Yeah. So, and this was school days. Because in the most completely justifiable act of censorship, okay, there was an act of violence against somebody where somebody unalived them with an axe the day before the final episode. The day before the episode was supposed to air, right? And unfortunately, the episode itself contained scenes of somebody being beheaded and then disemboweled. And so, when the episode came to air, the studio panicked. The channel panicked, and the broadcast channel panicked and put on 30 minutes of a rather nice boat sailing down the river to Johann Bach's Air on a G-String, which has been memed and has become a beloved part of the fandom of the show. Just the nice boat meme has existed for ever since, and even the author has gotten into that with other works that he's done by making odd comments. And other anime have even done this, where they'll turn around, they'll like to a river that's in the background of the thing and say, "Oh, that's a nice boat," and it'll be a drawing of that boat. Okay.
Apparently, also not the only time that's happened in broadcast anime.
Yeah, where something's got a little bit too close. But it's one of the most noticeable acts of censorship, done for a completely understandable reason, and done live, as it were.
I mean, it's editing it on a contextual level that is needed. I mean, like, I don't know if you know about this, but the 2002 Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, it was supposed to end on a climax with Spider-Man fighting Green Goblin around the two towers.
Yes, and saving a helicopter from falling by suspending it in a web between them.
Yeah, but because of the incidents of 9/11, they chose to edit the whole thing, and it makes perfect sense, right?
Exactly.
Again, the whole... I think censorship based on a tragedy is justified easily.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's an easily justified one. But I think we needed to mention it just because Nice Boat has become such a beloved meme among the people that watched School Days.
I think it kind of... Something like 9/11... Sure, because now those towers don't exist anymore. Going back and retroactively taking something out, not so much.
No, but I think,
and
it's
also
like,
I'm not so
because
of how often murders happen. Probably less so in Japan, but because of how often they happen here, especially, I don't think you would see that being censored in something more like. Maybe if there was a school shooting, maybe, and there was going to be a school shooting episode, you know.
Honest question, I think it would depend on what the weapon we used was. If there was a case of somebody being hacked apart with an axe, and the show contained an axe murder scene, there might actually be consideration. If it was a gun, I'm not so sure.
Maybe, maybe.
I think the important thing is it's time dependent.
Also proximity, yeah.
Yes. Time and proximity, yes. Japan's a much smaller country than America in physical size, and so
I meant proximity in time, but yes.
Well, but also so the entire country would have heard about it immediately, as opposed to many of the crimes in America that only get reported on a state level. It's only once they hit a certain size that they're reported on the entire countrywide level. So it would take something of that level to interrupt the publication of something that was directly related to it a day later.
But even so, like the School Days, the final episode that was obviously diverted to Nice Boat, that raw episode, that uncensored episode, still existed, right?
Yes.
Yes, it was aired only like 2 weeks later in another time slot, specifically to get it out. It was something quite quick, but it wasn't removed. It was just censored live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if they released a version of Spider-Man 2 that had the Twin Towers in it.
Yes. They
years after, like a year after,
into theaters. Yeah, that would be a bit close in that sense. But again, that's the thing on the level of the entire country of America. So
exactly, yeah.
Right. I can't think of any other side to this. Yes, censorship is necessary. I think it's used too much in forms that people don't really consider censorship, like localization things. In animation, censorship for fan service is so much better than that of stupid caricature faces. And I think the most egregious thing of all is censorship of a level to make it appeal to a wider demographic, which is just like, you are butchering this just because you're trying to target kids. It's just, stop doing this.
Bizarre.
So, right, shall we move on with the rest of the show?
All right.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was in fact moving on with the opening up the support questions over here to have a look.
Right, okay, so supporter questions. Ricuse says, how did I get here? How is Nasuth still breathing with a scarf choking oxygen to his pale...
Emaciated.
Yes,
emaciated? What is emaciated?
Like starved to the point of, you can see their ribs and their stomachs caved in, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so still breathing with a scarf choking the oxygen to his pale, emaciated eyes. I mean, okay.
Sunken eyes.
How is Nasuth not landed a simultaneous...
how is Thaylien not landed?
No.
Sorry, shit. How is Thaylien not landed a simultaneous printing and voice acting gig? How is Xeno right? Fuck it. Xeno isn't always wrong. God damn it. Am I in a different universe? How, dear listener, have you not liked and subscribed yet? Is Patreon a thing in this universe? If so, how have you not given to it so that you can ask how type questions too? Like, how are you, Xeno? I know we all give a crap, but really, how are you?
Give you crap.
Really, but how are you?
How are you? Everyone always asks, why is Xeno? Nobody ever asks, how is Xeno?
How is Xeno? Or when is Xeno? But,
I frequently ask, where is Xeno? But he never tells me, so that I can't show up at his door.
Good reasons. Right, so moving on. Zrugel says, how's streaming been going lately? Actually, surprisingly nice. I finished Luigi's Mansion 3. Yeah, it's,
and I hear the pollen count's really high, so Nasuth's eyes have been streaming as well.
Yeah.
He's been playing fucking World of Warcraft, and I'm just like, you.
And I almost like it, which is weird, but I don't really like it. It's just like I don't hate it, and that's weird for me sometimes. Anyway.
But it's not good. But it's not bad.
Great. It's
Anyway, right. Zrugul also says, how do you like Helldivers 2? It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Nazareth Meshi asks, if you were isekai'd into the world of Helldivers 2, would you rather be a Helldiver or one of the horrifying Terminators making life hell for the divers? I mean, democracy, man.
Good answer.
Democracy!
Good answer.
Right.
I have not played it, so I don't
hoping
know.
I wouldn't have to liberate you.
Rick Hughes returns to for a second question. If you were slice of lifed into Luigi's haunted mansion, how long would you last? -5 seconds.
He'd see a spider in one of the cobwebs and he'd be out of there.
Oh dear God, I would. Right.
I don't know. There was that ghost I saw you clipped on defeating the lady one. I might last -5 seconds in that case.
Yeah.
And then Birdframe Thaylien, or Birdframe Thay, asks, we've asked about Xeno changing his Notice Me Senpai model after Goblin Slayer started to go bad. Would he consider changing into a Helldivers model, bringing liberty to his show? I'm very Japanese. In the show, the strongest tanks, labyrinth, raids, blah 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 blah, the protagonist is mostly a tank, but has one skill that makes him a high damage dealer. If you were in an anime dungeon, if you were an anime dungeon character, what class would you be, and what kind of ability would you choose to make yourself into another class when you use it? Okay, so I would be a healer, and I would have Blessing and Protection. Be a tank.
But not Purification.
Nasuth?
No, that's part of the healer, Nasuth. Catch up.
I would be a wizard or a mage. One of the two. And
no,
my...
role. What
no,
role?
what class? What class?
Tank isn't a class, Nasuth.
It is in this anime.
Tank is a class?
In the anime, yes.
That's fucking stupid.
Tank, fighter, healer, mage.
There you go. I would be a mage, and my skill would choose to make yourself into another class when you use it.
That sounds like ranged DPS as opposed to... Like, these sound like roles, not class.
Hush.
I don't know. I would cast Fist to turn into a fighter. There you go.
I thought you would have cast Iron to throw pans at them.
Sure.
It's not a pan.
Cast Iron
Another
Man,
pun.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I get it.
I think I would have to be a type of swordsman or a damage dealer first up, right? Possibly like a spear kind of thing, and my I think my ability that I'd have differently would be Misty Step, so I could be a wizard. But the downside, of course, is that I would die from 1d4 of running away damage.
Okay.
Sure.
So there's going to be somebody that gets that joke. There's going to be somebody that gets that joke.
Both Nazareth and I were like, yeah, okay, whatever. Right, so moving on to the comments from last week. First off, we have the news. Zrugul says, my favorite Red Ranger has got to be the Gen 1 Tyrannosaurus. It's the nostalgia. That's fair. May would be a great month for cosplay. That's something I didn't really think about until watching My Dress Up Darling, and now I want to rewatch it. I can't.
Yeah, this is the in context for the temperature range, because it's cool enough for the people in heavy costumes to be not.
Remember how hot she got in? Remember how hot she got during her cosplays?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one about the cosplay festival returning.
Yes, in May.
Yeah, exactly.
Great job with your controller, Thaylien. Xena got most of his words right. God damn it. Right, Strongest Shell says Nasuth did not bleep out the word of curse.
Well, we're never getting monetized.
He had one job, right? And then that Ghibli Park ad was pretty enchanted. Makes me want to go. I mean, I already wanted to go, but that just reminds me.
Next time you go to Japan, you've got to go to Ghibli Park.
Right. So moving on to the comments from the cast, Strong Michelle says, interesting. There seems to be a few anime that are fumbling the story halfway through the season. Makes it hard to recommend them to people, but at least there's a few gems. Anyone try The Weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash. I got a few episodes in and it seems okay. The first two or so episodes felt contrived, but the rest have been okay. I'll actually give it a go.
That just sounds like Thaylien picking up trash anime shows to watch.
I mean, he does like to do that. And then the last comment from Strombus was, are you not going to talk about Xeno saying high school DXD? Just me? Okay. Yeah, it came up afterwards.
I called him out on it. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Strong Michelle. I was right there with you.
Zrugal says, I've stopped watching most of this season because I intend to binge more, but I've been enjoying some older stuff and getting caught up, so I won't complain. Unwanted Undead Adventure was one I was planning to binge. I'm glad you guys paused and found out what he actually said. It may have been 10 minutes for you, but I got my answer in 10 seconds. Yeah. Oh my god. The arguing was intense. I'm recently caught up with Delicious in Dungeon. I like it so far. I agree it's slow and the pacing seems off considering the goal is to save someone's life, but it makes up for it. Totally agree with Xeno. If it was honest about being a slice of life and maybe had a different driving force, then I think I'd be easier. So it'd be easier to spend disbelief. I can't speak for solo leveling, but I picked up Sasaki and Peeps, and I'm enjoying it. I would say it's must-watch level of good, but so far I'm trying to juggle two storylines, and I feel like it could be way better if it's just focused on one. Maybe I
might have meant wouldn't. Might have meant wouldn't. I'm not sure. Either way, Xeno will definitely pick it up.
Fair enough.
And
yeah,
replace solo leveling with it.
Yes.
Right, time for the memes.
Yay!
All these memes from us
there you go.
come from Reddit. The memes
Except
come
for a
from
couple.
you. Don't know where they came from. Thaylien made up some bullshit memes. I have a not safe for work meme, but I'm pretty sure all Thalien's memes are going to be not safe for work, but he's not going to tell anyone.
Yeah. And at least a couple of mine
remember, guys,
probably.
We say it all the time. I say it every episode, but it bears repeating. You can submit your own memes on the Kanpai Cast Discord. We feature up to 6 a week. We'd love to hear from you. So, go on, drop on
And
it.
this week we have 5, so let's get right into them.
Oh.
Peppa Pig, Itachi, Uchiha.
Uchiha.
I don't understand. Who is?
I think this is the height thing. This is the...
Yes.
Because, canonically, Peppa Pig is actually taller than...
Itachi.
Yeah.
I see.
Yep.
Who is
But
Itachi?
also, there's the thing, I think more
Naruto.
people bought Peppa Pig than they bought Naruto. Or I think, or that particular arc. Something like that. It was a stat going around, but Peppa Pig is definitely taller than Itachi.
Right.
Yeah, Peppa Pig is just, like, weirdly tall. Taller than fucking Levi.
Oh, yes, a classic.
Oh my God.
Classic.
Yeah.
A classic. The cooler freezer.
Oh, brilliant.
They say iPhone is better than Android, but I've never seen an iPhone save the universe. Damn right.
Lol.
Damn right. If you haven't watched Super, then you don't understand that. And big spoilers.
Oof.
Oh, this
What?
one's subtle. The Demon Slayer movie, apparently it's a meme in itself.
Is it?
Well,
Is it because it's just the last 3 episodes and then a preview of the next one?
it's the last
Pretty
2
much.
episodes. Yeah, but that was the last. It's like the last movie as well. That's literally what they
Yeah.
did last year.
Yeah, that's just what the
Exactly.
movies are.
Yeah.
Okay. And the last viewer meme.
Parents anime.
Well, not anymore so much, but yeah.
Yeah.
No wrong.
All right, on to mine. Senpai of the pool, what is your wait? Yes, Senpai of the pool. What is your wisdom? If you want to avoid spoilers, then don't watch anything that's popular. That's my plan.
And don't watch us because Nasuth does it too. He does.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it does.
That's true.
Don't go to our Discord either.
I'm a huge fangirl. Gay. How sweet. I'm a huge fangirl. Gay. Hello, human resources.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
Right.
Well.
Me eating Taco Bell at 2 a.m. 1 a.m. My asshole.
Oh my god.
Who's that one character who was gingerbread and has whitish hair? Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
Okay. I can name
That's
all
Wolf
but
Boy.
the bottom right. Yeah. Then Onimai. Then I don't know who it is in the bottom right. To the left is was it the pupil of the greatest sage or some shit like that? It's where the guy gets reincarnated as a girl. Bottom left is I got reincarnated to Master of the Blade, and then top left is Akashi Triangle.
Right. Good job,
Well
Tino.
done.
The only good one, well, actually no. To be
Oh
fair.
shit.
Okay.
Well,
They have all the assets and resources and we don't. But let us get on the line, boy, and see if that factors in. I guarantee you it won't. Wow.
God.
Well done. Good find.
Anyway.
and
Oh my god!
Oh.
That's adorable.
It is.
I'll take
right,
that.
let's move
Yeah.
on to Thalien's memes. Oh yeah, that's definitely NSFW.
Yes. I'm so jealous. Why? I don't think it is. There's no nudity in there whatsoever.
Yeah, can you just imagine someone walking past your monitor at work and they see that?
What do you mean imagine?
Jealous.
They did.
Moving on.
9S, what is Doom? And why is it running on my black box?
I love that. I love
Do you
that.
want to run
That's,
anything?
that's the one I
That's
made.
brilliant. Brilliant.
Ah.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely
Nice.
brilliant.
Good job, Thalien.
Love it.
Alright. But to formally introduce myself, my name is Joshua, son of Joseph. Though my friends call me Jojo, you should call me by this name, Mary. Jesus was a Jojo.
Yeah,
Yep,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. Oh no. I look forward to the copyright strike.
Oh, we should get copyright strike for that, surely. Anyway,
Surely. Surely.
surely.
What the
continue.
fuck, Thalien? What the fuck, Thalien? What the fuck, Thalien? What the fuck?
That was brilliant. That was fucking brilliant. I love
What
it.
the fuck?
Fucking brilliant.
Oh.
Is it like singing again? Yeah.
That one's
Brilliant.
getting a copyright
Absolute
strike.
fucking brilliant. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, my first one. Most OP redhead characters. Oh, wait. Where'd he come from?
What? Okay.
He's always lost. He's a cryptid. He just appears.
It's sorry.
Right.
He's lost. No, never mind.
What's One Piece?
Dragons in movies. Dragons in animated movies. Dragons in anime. Dragons in book. Dragons in real life.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Do not toot it, fool! Yumiel toots as she pleases.
Okay.
Wait, did you fucking watch Villainess at level 99? Anyway.
No. This is your NSFW one. So if you don't want to, just
Okay, wait. So what is this now? Just watch. Why are we taping my reaction? Just watch. Okay. What else? Wait. Wait. What? 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 No. No.
What the fuck?
What is wrong with you? Oh my god! I'm never gonna be able to eat ice cream again. Oh my god!
It's surprising how well that works. Okay.
I know.
And yet, strangely, that felt less NSFW than Thalien's meme.
I know, right?
It's weird.
Next.
つまり工作した輩とつながっているとか
Always love that. Love a good meme like that. What is that song? Roundabout?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna get a copyright strike.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You can just
Yes,
give
yes.
this kind of thing to men and they'll be thrilled. Furia Summer, I already got stuck the extra large version.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I hadn't actually seen this version of it. That's good.
Yeah, I saw that one when I was looking. I thought, that's a bit obvious. I think I'll go for the one where she's stuck in dungeon
Yes.
instead.
I think it's calling you obvious, as you know.
Yeah, well, I hadn't seen the Danmachi one. Otherwise, I'd have stolen that from him.
Yeah, you would have.
Right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Kanpai Cast with all our technical issues that no one's going to see because of editing. And we will see you for next week. Type the bottoms up in Kanpai. Kanpai.
Wait, leave a comment. Leave a comment if you can count how many technical difficulties you spot, and we'll totally keep track of that number and let you know next time.
I mean,
100%.
do we even
100%.
Okay, fine.
You
100%.
didn't? I did.
Bye.